Hi everyone, and thank you for joining us today. What we're going to look at today is not just AI in theory, but how AI capabilities inside Acumatica can provide practical value in day-to-day business operations. There's obviously a huge amount of noise around AI at the moment, and one of the questions that businesses are asking is, how can this actually help my organisation become more efficient, make better decisions, and reduce administration? So that's what today is about. Rather than replacing people, the goal of AI with an ERP is to help users work faster, reduce repetitive tasks, surface useful information more quickly, and improve overall decision making. So over the next 25 minutes, I'll demonstrate several practical examples of how AI can assist users across the business. So let's start with one of the most widely used examples of AI in Acumatica, the AP document recognition. This is a good place to begin because it addresses a very familiar business problem, manual invoice entry. In many organisations, invoices still arrive by email as PDF attachments. Someone then has to open the document, read the invoice, manually key in the supplier, invoice number, dates, and so on, and then attach the original PDF for audit purposes. It works, but it's repetitive, time-consuming, and very easy to get wrong. With Acumatica's document recognition, the system can use an external recognition service to read invoice PDF files and extract key information. This can either be done manually or automatically from incoming emails where PDF invoices are attached. So I'll start on the incoming document screen. This is where PDF invoices can be submitted for recognition. I can either drag and drop a PDF invoice directly into the preview area, or in a real-world setup, these could be coming in automatically from a dedicated supplier invoice mailbox. Once the PDF has been uploaded, I'll click Recognise. Now at this point, Acumatica sends the document to the recognition service. The document will initially show as pending recognition, and once the recognition is completed successfully, the status changes to recognised. Now we can see that Acumatica has read the document and populated information from the invoice. This might include details such as the vendor, invoice number, invoice date, amounts, tax, and then line details and a purchase order if there's one on the system to match to. If I click into any of these recognised fields, Acumatica highlights the mapped value on the PDF, so I can quickly check where the value came from. If something needs correcting, I can either manually edit the field or click the correct value on the PDF to remap it. Once I'm happy that the information has been recognised correctly, I can click Save and Continue. Acumatica then creates the corresponding AP bill automatically in Bills and Adjustments. The new AP document is created with the recognised values populated, and the original PDF is attached to the transaction for reference and audit purposes. Importantly, Acumatica creates the document on hold, which gives the finance team the opportunity to review and approve it before it progresses further. We created this document by dragging and dropping, but you could also send documents directly to the system from your inbox or even automatically using a dedicated invoice email address. If I go into my Outlook, I've got an email here that's got an invoice attached. I'll click on the Acumatica button and you'll see it recognises who I am and the company I belong to from my email address. Then as it has detected a PDF attached to the email, it gives me the option to send it to the recognition service via the Create AP Document button. Now if we go back into Acumatica and our incoming document screen, we'll see it appear here. So the value here is very clear. It's not AI for the sake of AI. This is AI being used to reduce repetitive administration, improve accuracy, and speed up invoice processing. Finance teams can spend less time typing information from PDFs and more time reviewing exceptions, managing approvals, and focusing on higher value work. It also creates a much cleaner audit trail because the original document remains attached to the AP transaction. Next, we'll take a look at the anomaly detection. At a high level, anomaly detection is about identifying information within your ERP data that appears unusual, unexpected, or outside of normal operational patterns. Acumatica's approach to anomaly detection utilises an in-house AI engine to keep data from going outside the Acumatica cloud, thus speeding processing time and reducing processing costs. Traditionally, businesses rely on users manually reviewing reports, dashboards, or spreadsheets to try and spot issues. The challenge is that ERP systems contain huge amounts of data, and unusual activity can easily go unnoticed. Anomaly detection works by analysing large amounts of historical and transactional data to understand what normal business behaviour typically looks like. Once the system has an understanding of those normal patterns, it can begin identifying transactions or trends that appear unusual or outside of expected behaviour. For example, an invoice that is significantly higher than normal, a sudden spike in purchasing, unusual stock movements, or customer buying patterns that suddenly change. Rather than somebody manually reviewing thousands of transactions or reports, the AI helps surface those unusual exceptions automatically so that users can investigate them more quickly. So in simple terms, the AI learns what normal looks like, then highlights things that don't look normal. As a sales manager, I may start my day by looking at my dashboard, and I notice that the system has found some potential issues around my sales order margins. Drilling down, I get the generic inquiry that has sorted through the records and revealed potential anomalies. In this case, it's looking at the expected margin against the actual margin that we got on the sale. If I drill into a specific sales order, I can investigate the anomaly. I'll choose order 8946, as here we got a lot bigger margin than we usually do when selling this item. I can see here that someone has added a note to say that they'd got a good cost price on the item that we're selling. So I'm happy with that. Back on the drill down screen, I can then mark that record as reviewed and even put a comment against it to say that I'm happy with this anomaly. Now I can go back into my main dashboard, refresh that widget, and then notice that my count of anomalies has been reduced by 1. I do have this scorecard set to drill into significant severity items, but I can set other filters such as medium, and then in that case it gives me everything that it's found that is out of the normal range, but maybe not something that I need to look into urgently. So what's important here is that AI is not replacing human decision making. Instead, it's acting as an intelligent assistant, helping users focus on exceptions, risks and trends more quickly and efficiently. Rather than requiring users to manually search through thousands of records, it can help direct attention towards the areas most likely to require investigation. Now, another major area where AI is becoming incredibly useful is through large language models, often referred to as LLMs. Now, at a very simple level, an LLM is a type of AI model that has been trained on huge amounts of language and text data. This allows it to understand context, interpret written communications, and generate human-like responses. What makes this particularly powerful within Acumatica is that the AI is not just generating random responses, it can work alongside your operational data to help users respond to or summarise information quickly and consistently. For example, think about a customer service team dealing with complaints or support cases. Traditionally, a user might need to read through a long email or review previous communications, understand the history, and then manually draft a professional response. That can take time, and the quality of responses can vary between users. With AI assistants powered by LLMs, the system can help summarize those conversations, it can understand the tone and context of the communication, it can suggest professional responses, and then help the users draft replies much more quickly. Importantly, the AI is not replacing the user or automatically sending emails on their behalf. Instead, it acts as an intelligent assistant, helping users save time and focus on resolving the actual customer issue, rather than spending time drafting communications. So here I am in the cases screen within the CRM and customer service. You can see that I've received a complaint from a customer who's clearly unhappy. They ordered goods expected on the 20th of May, the delivery arrived late, the packaging was damaged, and then to make matters worse, the delivery driver also damaged their gatepost. Now, traditionally, a customer service user would need to read through this email, understand the tone and context, maybe review the customer history, and then manually draft a professional response. That process can take time, especially when users are dealing with large volumes of cases throughout the day. This is where the LLM can become incredibly useful. So let's say I'm the customer services representative handling the case. I can open the original email and review the complaint. The customer is clearly frustrated, so tone becomes important here. We want to acknowledge the issue professionally and empathetically while still gathering the appropriate information internally. Now, instead of manually writing the entire response from scratch, I can use the AI assistant to help generate or refine a draft response. I might start with something like, "Sorry to hear that," but then need some more help in refining my reply further. So I will go into my LLM actions and choose Refine Reply. At this point, the LLM analyzes the original complaint, the tone of the customer, the context of the case, and then it can go and suggest a more complete and professionally worded reply. So now we've got a response to the customer that's clearer, it's more empathetic, it's professionally structured, and it's much quicker for the user to produce. So what's important here, though, is the user still remains fully in control. The AI is just assisting in the process. Now, let's fast forward this to this case being resolved and take this one step further. I'll go into a copy of this complaint where you can see that we've carried out some activities to rectify the problem. Up until now, we've looked at AI helping users draft a response, but large language models can also help summarize and consolidate information that is built up across an entire customer case. So here we can see the full activity history against the case. We've got the original complaint, some follow-up communications, some internal tasks, phone calls, and then the eventual resolution. So the customer was contacted, the replacement goods were arranged, a new gate post was organised, and ultimately the customer confirmed that they were happy with the outcome. Now, instead of manually reading through every activity and writing closure notes from scratch, we can use the LLM to analyse the entire activity history and generate a concise professional summary automatically. And now we have our closure notes that summarise the original issue, the investigation, the corrective actions, and then the final customer outcome. So what's particularly useful here is the consistency. So regardless of which support agent handled the case, the business gets standardised, well-written closure information across the organisation. And because the AI is working directly against the activities already stored within Acumatica, users don't need to re-enter or duplicate information elsewhere. Setting up the AI automation is quick and easy. You'll create a connection to your LLM. Acumatica supports many of the big providers such as Azure, AWS, and OpenAI, to name a few. You'll then go and create a prompt definition with instructions for the LLM. We can see the refine reply instructions here. So we give the LLM the context, then the instructions of what data to look at, which exact fields to use in its email template, and then how we want it to refine the reply. Using this screen, we can test out the prompt as many times as we like until we're happy that we've designed the instructions correctly. Once we're done, we can then activate the prompt by clicking the active checkbox and then telling it which Acumatica form we want to use it on. It will then appear in the More menu for everyone to be able to use. Now, some data in Acumatica, such as account numbers and prices, shouldn't leave your system. If you're worried about using certain prompts with AI tools because of security concerns, then you can put those worries aside. Starting in Acumatica 2026 R1, you can use data masking within the AI tools to keep sensitive data secure. It works by you masking any sensitive details in your requests to the LLMs before sending them to the cloud. The real data never leaves Acumatica. The LLM receives only masked content. When the LLM returns the processed data to Acumatica, the system replaces the masked content with the actual data. With these LLM prompts, it really is up to you where and how you want to use them. You'll see here I have some examples of tagging project documentation, generating summaries, and even automatically writing our stock descriptions for us. So what's really exciting here is that Acumatica isn't just giving you a fixed set of AI tools, it's giving you the flexibility to design AI assistants around your operational requirements. Okay, so lastly, I want to move on to one of the newest of Acumatica's AI capabilities, the AI Assistant. What makes this particularly interesting is that it's not just simply another dashboard or report builder. The AI Assistant introduces a conversational way of interacting with ERP data. Traditionally, within ERP systems, users often need to navigate through multiple menus, understand screen structures, build reports, or manually search through forms to find information. With the AI Assistant, users can instead ask questions in plain language and receive immediate answers directly within Acumatica. So users can simply ask, "Show me my overdue invoices," or "Which customers have the highest sales this month?" The assistant can then return text summaries, tables, charts, lists, and even pivot tables, all directly within the Acumatica interface. Behind the scenes, the AI assistant works against generic inquiries that the business exposes to the AI engine. What's really clever here is that the administrators remain fully in control of which data the AI can access, and then how that data is described, and how the AI interprets the business meaning behind the information. So we can expose specific generic inquiries, add business-friendly descriptions, describe what the fields actually mean, and then process those inquiries so the AI assistant can use them. This helps the assistant understand the difference between technical database fields and actual business concepts. So let's look at a practical example. Imagine I'm a finance manager and I want to quickly understand my outstanding receivables. Traditionally, I might navigate to AR reports, filter invoices, build a dashboard, or even export data to Excel. Instead, I can simply open the AI assistant and ask a question in plain language. So in here, I will type, show me the top 10 overdue invoices with the highest values. The AI assistant now analyzes the available generic inquiries and returns the results directly in the chat window. We can see customer information, invoice numbers, dates, and totals presented immediately in a structured table. These results are interactive, so you'll see anything in blue I'm able to drill down on and open up the base record. Below the table of data, the AI assistant has also given me some insights or observations into the data that it's retrieved. So it has observed that one customer has 3 items in the top 10, a large invoice, and then one invoice that's been overdue for some time. As I scroll down here, you can see the assistant has also given me the same information in a graphical format, exactly how we see on our dashboards, but from within the chat window. I can drill into any of these columns, or even pop the chart out into another window. If I do that, then you can see how the structure of the chart is created as a dashboard widget. So I could just go and copy this widget and paste it into a brand new dashboard that I'm designing. Going back to the AI assistant then, another really powerful capability is contextual follow-up questions. So instead of starting again, it gives me suggested further questions that I may want to ask, such as which invoices are overdue by more than so many days, or a balance across all open invoices. So this starts becoming much more like having an intelligent business analyst built directly into your ERP system. So far, we've seen the AI assistant helping us retrieve operational data quickly using natural language. But where this becomes even more powerful is when we start asking more analytical business questions. Rather than simply asking, show me some records, we can start asking, what is actually happening in the business? So let's imagine I'm a sales director reviewing pipeline performance. I might ask, can you tell me which deals are most likely to close? The AI assistant analyzes the opportunities currently within the pipeline and identifies those in the later stages of the sales process, such as solution or negotiation stages, where there is a higher probability of closure. The results are returned in the same kind of format as we've seen before. We first get the table view with interactive hyperlinks, and then the assistant will give us observations on the data that it has retrieved. In this case, it doesn't give me a chart, as there isn't actually really data to plot. I may now want to investigate one of these opportunities further, so without drilling into the record, I could just ask, looking at this particular opportunity, would you say that this salesperson has an accurate forecasting history, and what have more successful salespeople done that he hasn't? Now the assistant will go off and carry out its investigation. It's now come back with its analysis, and it's highlighting the fact that Theo does not have accurate forecasting history, and the data actually reveals some significant issues compared to other salespeople. In this case, he has a deal that is set to 80% probability that is still open. However, it was forecast to close over 11 years ago. The assistant carries on analysing the data and creates me a table that shows Theo's track record versus others in my sales team. He actually has the lowest win rate and only converts 1 in 3 deals. As I carry on scrolling down, we can see what more successful salespeople do differently and how the AI assistant has looked at key behavioural differences between Theo's deal and other opportunities in the system. It even gives us examples of records in the system to back up its findings. Then finally in the summary, we get the assistant's final verdict on Theo's forecasting, what his historical pattern shows, and then its recommendations for what Theo needs to do moving forwards. So instead of users needing deep ERP knowledge or advanced reporting and analysis skills, the AI assistant allows them to interact with operational data conversationally, helping turn raw ERP information into meaningful business insight much faster. Hopefully today has shown that AI within Acumatica is not about replacing people or adding unnecessary complexity, but about helping users work more efficiently, access information more naturally, and make better informed decisions using the data already within the ERP system. So that concludes our introduction into the AI functionality within Acumatica. For a more in-depth tailored demonstration or for more information, please contact us on the email address or the phone number on the screen. Many thanks for watching.